I want to introduce to you the photocopy transfer technique. The main objective of this technique is to transfer a original drawing or a photocopy of that original drawing onto any type of surface. This photocopy transfer will adhere to paper, canvas, wood, just about any surface that you would like to transfer a drawing onto. This technique will work. The materials that you will need for this technique is pretty simple. The main key material is a chart pack blender marker. You have to get a chart pack blender. So if you notice on that label right there, it's a blender. And if you take the lid off, it looks just like a marker, but it's a clear tip. And the main ingredient in this marker is acetone. So that active ingredient will activate the toner of the photocopy, and that's what makes the line drawing or the toner of the photocopy transfer onto the surface. The other ingredient or materials that you'll need is some type of a burnisher, and then the one thing that you will absolutely need is a photocopy of your drawing, and it has to be a toner photocopy. There are laser printers, there's inkjet printers, but the best way to tell that a photocopy is toner is it's the cheapest print or photocopy that you can find. A lot of times you'll go into a print shop, or if you have your own printer and you ask them, or if you check, is this a toner? A lot of times they don't know. But if it's 5 cents or less per copy, that is the best indicator that it is a toner photocopy machine. Inkjet printers and laser printers don't work as well because they don't use that carbon toner that is in the photocopy machine. They use ink or other materials, and it doesn't transfer as well. So that are the main ingredients of this technique. I will now explain the process of this technique. So you will need to take, obviously, photo reference of an object or objects. Then you'll want to do a line drawing of that object. Then you will need to flip the line drawing. Usually you'll scan it or find a photocopy machine that will flip the image. The easiest way, and I've done a tutorial on flipping your image in Photoshop, and you'll want to watch that. After you flip your image, then you'll want to print it out or reprint from your Photoshop file onto a photocopy machine that does toner. Once that is achieved, then you'll want a surface to transfer onto. Again, about any surface will do. The great thing about once you get a photocopy transfer or your drawing transferred onto a surface is that you can use any medium at that point to paint with over your drawing. You can use oil paint, you can use acrylic, watercolor, gouache, ink, whatever you want, because once that photocopy transfer is onto the surface, it's very durable. It will not wash off or come off. The only way to remove a photocopy transfer from a surface is to sand it off. So those are the characteristics of a photocopy transfer. The one thing that you need to be careful of is once you have done a photocopy transfer with a copy, once you've reactivated that toner, then it won't work ever again. So one transfer per copy is the normal usage. Then, if you want to do multiple transfers onto, say, an existing painting or the process of a painting, you have to get the uh, multiple copies or toner copies to do that. Now with acrylic, when you're painting with acrylic, and if you go thick and opaque with your acrylic painting, then once you do a photocopy transfer on top of that thick opaque acrylic paint, the acetone in the blender marker will melt the acrylic paint, because acrylic paint is just plastic, and so you have to be careful with that. If you do a transfer onto a thick opaque oil painting or a acrylic painting, that transfer may melt the acrylic painting and it becomes a mess. So as long as your painting is thin and transparent and dry, you can do as many transfers as you want onto that surface. As soon as the painting is thick and opaque, then you better be careful and do some practice transfers onto the edge of the painting or outside of the image area so you can make sure it works. All right, now the next video will be the demonstration and more explanation of the photocopy transfer.